Dublin, early morning. As the sun rises over the River Liffey, the city feels different, charged, expectant. Streets usually bustling with tourists and shoppers are now lined with Garda barriers and news vans. Local cafes fill with conversations about the day ahead as residents peek out their windows, sensing that something big is about to unfold. Taxi drivers exchange rumors, shopkeepers tape handwritten signs on their doors, and a palpable sense of anticipation hangs in the air. Across social media, hashtags like #DublinMarch and #Ireland debates trend rapidly, drawing attention from every corner of the country and beyond. The city centre is set to become the stage for one of the largest protests in modern Irish history. Whether you're for or against, everyone knows today will leave a mark. But what's really at stake? And how did we get here? As Dublin braces itself, let's dive into the heart of the march and the debate that's shaking Ireland to its core. Why are there not more people talking about the massive wave of protests shaking Ireland right now? On June 22, 2025, Dublin witnessed its largest anti-immigration protest in modern Irish history, a moment that's become a flashpoint in a much bigger national and European debate. Tens of thousands surged into the city centre, with organizers claiming over 100,000 in attendance, though official estimates put the number lower. Either way, the turnout was impossible to ignore, and it sent shockwaves through Irish politics. But what led to this massive mobilization? The roots of the protest go back years, as Ireland's rapid population growth, driven by both EU migration and a sharp rise in asylum applications, has collided with a worsening housing crisis, hospital overcrowding, and growing public frustration. The march began at Parnell Square at 2 p.m., with O'Connell Street transformed into a sea of Irish tricolours and banners. Protesters made their way to Custom House Quay, chanting and singing as they went. The demonstration was organized by a coalition of groups, including Ireland First, the Irish Freedom Party, and several local community organizations. Many of these groups have been active in recent years, holding smaller rallies and online campaigns calling for stricter immigration controls. While the exact numbers are debated, the scale of the protest was unprecedented for this issue in Ireland, reflecting a groundswell of concern among a segment of the population. Protesters demanded the government immediately pause all forms of migration, including asylum and work permits, until the housing and healthcare crises are addressed. Many held signs reading, "Ireland for the Irish" and "Put the Irish first," echoing slogans seen in other European countries facing similar debates. Notable speakers included councillor Malachy Steenson, who argued that Ireland's infrastructure simply can't cope with current migration levels. Other speakers referenced recent high-profile crimes and controversial government policies, drawing cheers from the crowd. The crowd's mood was a mix of anger, anxiety, and patriotism. Some wore "Make Ireland Great Again" hats, while others waved banners referencing Irish sovereignty and national identity. Many attendees said they felt ignored by politicians and the media, and that their concerns about housing, jobs, and safety were being dismissed as bigotry. But the protest wasn't just about anger. There was a strong cultural element with traditional Irish songs like "The Fields of Athenry" and "Orosedo Bheatha Bale," sung by the crowd, and speeches about protecting Irish heritage and sovereignty. For many, the march was as much about cultural pride as it was about policy. Meanwhile, a counter-protest gathered on O'Connell Bridge, numbering a few hundred but making their presence felt with chants and banners. Organized by United Against Racism and supported by trade unions, left-wing parties, LGBTQ+ groups, and student unions, the counter-protesters chanted, "Refugees are welcome here," and "Trans rights are human rights." They argued that Ireland has a moral duty to welcome those fleeing war and persecution, and accused the main protest of stoking division and fear. Gardaí maintained a strong presence, keeping the two groups apart. Despite the charged atmosphere, the day remained largely peaceful, with only a few minor scuffles reported and no major incidents. This protest is part of a wider trend. Over the past year, similar rallies, both for and against immigration, have taken place in Cork, Limerick, Galway, and smaller towns, reflecting a national debate that's only intensifying. The political context is complex. Ireland's government, led by a coalition of Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and the Green Party, has defended its migration policies, arguing that immigrants are vital for the economy and that Ireland must meet its international obligations. However, recent polls show public opinion is shifting. A 2025 survey found that 58% of Irish people support stricter immigration controls, while 32% believe current levels are about right, and just 10% want more open borders. The debate has been fueled by rising living costs, a record housing shortage, and high-profile political controversies, including remarks by government ministers about Irish identity and integration. Some opposition parties, like Sinn Féin, have called for a review of migration policy, while others accuse the government of failing to listen to ordinary people. Ireland's immigration debate is also part of a broader European trend. Across the EU, countries like Germany, France, and Italy have seen similar protests and political shifts, with migration becoming a top election issue and far-right parties gaining ground. Notable moments from the Dublin March included a passionate speech by activist Niam Uí Briain, who called for a national conversation on migration, and a symbolic minute of silence for those struggling to find homes in Ireland. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. This is a conversation Ireland and Europe can't avoid. Is pausing migration the answer, or does it risk scapegoating newcomers for deeper problems? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Your voice matters in this debate. Let's keep the discussion respectful and keep it real. A huge march opposing mass immigration took place in Dublin city centre, drawing thousands of participants. The demonstration was marked by banners, chants, and a strong police presence. Organizers emphasized the scale of public concern, highlighting the peaceful yet determined atmosphere of the event. As the march moved through the city streets, attention turned to the main stage where community leaders and concerned citizens addressed the crowd. One after another, speakers took the microphone to urge the government to halt current migration policies. Their arguments echoed through the packed square. Ireland's housing crisis is worsening, hospitals are under pressure, and many believe that national resources are being stretched to their limits. The crowd listened intently, erupting into applause and cheers as calls for a migration pause were made. Chants in support of prioritizing local needs grew louder, reflecting a collective sentiment among many attendees. The rally became a powerful statement, not just of opposition, but of a plea for government action and community-first solutions. As speakers at the event noted that public anger is growing. Many Irish citizens feel they are not being prioritized in their own country, leading to frustration and protests. Interviews with attendees revealed a sense of being overlooked by policymakers, fueling the movement's momentum. As voices from the crowd merged with impassioned speeches, the atmosphere became charged with emotion. People shared personal stories of struggling to find housing, facing long hospital waits, and feeling unheard by those in power. These accounts painted a picture of a community grappling with real challenges, united by a desire for change. The march wasn't just about policy, it was about people demanding to be seen and heard. The groundswell of frustration, captured in chants and placards, signaled a pivotal moment in Ireland's ongoing debate over immigration and national priorities. Statistical data shows Ireland's net migration reached over 100,000 in the past year, while housing shortages persist with over 12,000 people officially homeless. Healthcare waitlists have grown by 15% year on year. Analysts warn that unless policy changes are made, these figures may worsen, intensifying public dissatisfaction. Like and subscribe to Smarto Brains for more engaging deep dives into breaking news, politics, sociology, economics, and social policy.